interesting year or so, but man, it's been a good year. It was really difficult for sure, and a lot of different reasons. I think I knew that this was coming down, that at some point I was going to talk about my status because I'd chosen to not get vaxxed for reasons that you talked about on your show, and I talked about polyethylene glycol. And so I did my research. Now, I think typically speaking, because I'm healthy and I take care of myself, getting vaccinated was not on the top of my list. But, you know, I wanted to look into it because everybody was doing it and talking about it and trying to be safe. And I wanted to make sure I was, you know, doing my part if that's what was necessary to keep myself safe and my loved ones safe and my teammates safe. Then I looked into it. And at the time, I went on the CDC website and they specifically said, you know, if you're allergic to PEG, we do not recommend you get vaccinated with the mRNA vaccinations. So the only other one available was Johnson & Johnson. And it had just got pulled at the time for blood clots. So I looked into other options, which included an immunization process through a holistic doctor. And I researched and talked to probably a dozen different MDs and found a protocol that I felt like was the best available. But there was hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people that I knew in this circle that were using, that had been doing this to protect ourselves. Because we were thinking, hey, look, you know, for me, I didn't want to risk anaphylactic shock or any type of clotting with, you know, associated with the vaccine. So, that was my only option: either do nothing or do this process. And I felt like that this was the best way to protect myself and my teammates, and that the NFL would understand, you know, and maybe grant me a waiver, because one of the most difficult parts about the whole process was that there was clearly two classes of player at the facility. There was the vaxxed and the unvaxxed. And the vaxxed had full privileges. They tested once every 2 weeks. They had full privileges on the road. They could go out to dinner on the road. They could go to a concert in town. They could go to a comedy show that was in town. They could be at any place they wanted to, right, and live life normally. Non-vaxxed, fully masked, zero privileges on the road. Could not go into establishments more than 15 people. You could not be around more than three individuals from the team outside the facility. All these different, what I think now we all realize were crazy policies. And that's what actually got me into trouble, was that I attended a Halloween party in a 10,000 square foot warehouse with 18 other individuals, all fully vaccinated, and myself not vaxxed, and was eventually fined for that. Ended up getting COVID from a vaccinated teammate of mine who contracted COVID and spread it. And that's where it gets a little bit crazy. And I told this story, I think, on the McAfee show, but I said, when I came to camp, they knew I was not vaccinated, right? So you had to submit a vaccination card. That went to the system with the NFL. And obviously I didn't have one, so we were given wristbands too. So everybody in the facility knew who was vaxxed and who wasn't vaxxed. Vaxxed was green, non-vaxxed was yellow.